All right, let's finish up the Southeast Asia notes, talking really briefly about some historical geography. Many of these countries were colonies or were colonized by Europeans throughout history. So Great Britain was probably one of the more common countries to colonize all over the world. They controlled Myanmar, Malaysia, Singapore, Brunei, and Hong Kong. And they controlled Hong Kong until 1997, which was pretty recent compared to some of the other dates of independence. And Hong Kong technically is not independent today. Hong Kong is an autonomous region controlled by China. So when Great Britain gave Hong Kong to China in 1997, China promised Hong Kong that they could remain independent-ish, that they could be autonomous, and kind of run their democratic government like they always have in the past. Now, famous last words, because over the past 5 years there has been escalating riots over the democracy process. And China is allowing Hong Kong to run an election, such as ours, and they said they wouldn't interfere. However, they are now making them that they have to approve the candidates that are running. So, yes, you can vote, but you can only vote for people we like, is really in essence what's happening. So, there's been a lot of issues in Hong Kong as of late. Netherlands colonized Indonesia. France colonized Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. Portugal, of course, on the one side of Timor Island, the east side of Timor Island, and parts of Southeast China. The U.S. had its role in controlling countries in this part of the world too, as mentioned before. The Philippines were colonized by Spain, technically first, and then the United States kind of got Philippines as spoils of a war victory in the Spanish-American War. All of these countries are independent today except for Hong Kong. Some other things. Speaking of date of independence, most of these countries gained their independence after World War II. So if these countries are colonized by Europe and there's a world war going on in Europe, they really didn't have a whole lot of time, money, or energy to spend on maintaining these colonies outside of Europe. And so after World War II, around the world, not just in Southeast Asia, but many countries gained their independence. Many countries were also redrawn on the map. For example, there is a controversy over China. Now, officially, the name of Taiwan is called the Republic of China. And the official name of China and Hong Kong combined is the People's Republic of China, which is very confusing. There'll be a video that I'm going to post for you to watch as well, but to summarize it, when the communists came in and tried to take over China, the government fled China and went to Taiwan to govern China from the safety of the island of Taiwan, which was part of China. The communists ended up taking over the mainland part of China, and they say, we are the legitimate power of China. And the non-communist government that fled to Taiwan says, no, we're still controlling China from here, from the island of Taiwan. So technically, Taiwan isn't really independent. Technically, they both say they're China, but we're kind of starting to divide and see them as two separate. So you can watch the video and see that. Some other new areas that were drawn, obviously in the 1950s, the Korean War. North Korea was communist, invaded South Korea. The United States got involved, and we were successful at keeping North Korea and South Korea two separate countries, North Korea remaining communist, South Korea not. The Vietnam War, same thing. North Vietnam invaded South Vietnam. South Vietnam was not communist, and we did not want North Vietnam to take over South Vietnam because, of course, during the Cold War, we didn't want communism to take over the world. So we step in and we are unsuccessful in the Vietnam War. That's why there's 2 Koreas and there's 1 Vietnam. And of course, peacefully in 2002, East Timor, or Timor-Leste, separated from the rest of Indonesia on the Timor Island because they were more Portuguese and their culture was completely different and not Muslim and so forth. So they just peacefully split in 2002.